Thank you for being here. I just wanted to get a little bit of an inside background sort of story about how you've transitioned Cablevision in the realm of audience-based data, in the realm of ad sales, right? Because it's not an easy process, I would imagine. You have traditional processes by which ad sales have been done, and now you have all this sort of new fancy candy to play with.
Yep.
A little bit of an insider's understanding of how that's evolved over the last year or two.
That's actually a great question. So our total audience application is new, and we've obviously been in the rep firm business for a long time. It was created back in the day, and we've been selling media forever. So to transition reps over to allow them to A, see the benefit of selling in a different way, and B, really teaching them how, in certain circumstances, they may know more about what they're selling than the client does. So how do they explain addressable? How do they explain set-top box data? How do they explain, census level data versus sample data, and then sell, which we're doing now, more than a third of our media on an impression basis as opposed to a GRP basis. So it's a great question because it's a big learning curve to get people to do that. And so we've done a lot of training, and what's really been the biggest benefit is that they're seeing the value, right? So our local ad sales group now is selling 50% of their inventory by using the total audience application, because they can do custom schedules in real time. They can create media schedules with long tail networks at a very efficient CPM for the customer. So once, I think for the sales reps, once they start to see incremental sales volume, incremental revenue, they hit their numbers faster, then they become converts. But getting them sort of, bringing the horse to water required a lot of time and effort.
And has it also then unlocked the door to more cost-efficient pursuit of, say, smaller advertisers that may not have been cost-efficient to do so prior to?
Absolutely. You couple the availability of more inventory on long-tail networks, and then the ability to target very specific segments, so you can do almost a laser-like media schedule for an advertiser who may never have considered television before because they just didn't think they could afford it. So again, on the local side in New York, and we also integrate Time Warner Cable data, so we have a good snapshot of the footprint we're getting into. We keep saying now our favorite one right now is horseback riding school. So if you are trying to target upper income families who live within a certain distance of a riding school, there's certain types of programming that they watch. You can do that, and you couple that with the ability to create advertising at a much less expensive price point these days. So you're not doing a full shoot and all the other stuff. You can do a lot of things very cost efficiently. They get into the space both on the creative side and on the media schedule side at a very low point of entry as far as price.
So that seems like a tremendous positive. I wonder though, what about the creative execution of all of that, right? So obviously being a legacy cable ad seller, you already have resources, but aren't there some higher order resources maybe in the future that are needed to maybe do things a little bit more quickly and more, shall we say, addressably in terms of the creative units?
Yeah, and I think even big advertisers do that. So maybe the classic example is an automotive advertiser who will create a broad-based spot and then leave taggable space at the end, so that the local dealer is just really customizing. And we see that now. I saw an ad on our cable system last week for a local dealership, and at the end they actually had the photos of the sales reps at that particular dealership. So there is a new crop of agencies coming up, which I think is really interesting, that just do very quick, very efficient schedules. And then, like I said, the larger advertisers will do customizable creative that even the local jewelry store or whatever can do, a quick tag at the end and not have to spend a ton of money.
I would imagine it also opens up the possibilities of co-op dollars, right? National and local integration, where maybe there are two separate media schedules, and maybe on the national front, a Cablevision has never really even gotten any of those dollars in the past, right?
Yep.
Where now you can actually talk about conjoining the trade dollars of, say, the local point of presence with the national ad dollars, and
absolutely. And we're seeing, it's interesting because of the value of the census level data and the schedules we can do, we're seeing national dollars being diverted to regional, again with the with the New York footprint. Thankfully, we're in New York, so what they see and learn in New York is applicable to other markets. So they're trialing and testing, but they are diverting national dollars to regional, which is great news for us.
So you've been clearly among, if not the most progressive of the cable operators in terms of embracing audience-based targeting, VOD things. I mean, when I was at Starcom and MediaVest, we started the beginnings with our friends at Walt Disney World with some video-on-demand advertising, digital channels, and all those kinds of things. But if you could maybe just look a few years ahead, right, about how addressable advertising in television works. I mean, right now it's still confined to that 2 minutes an hour, which on a local Cablevision basis is a good thing and pure upside. But do you ever see a more I don't know, an even mix or a conjoining between, say, national ad inventory and your local pipes, given all the data and all the possible targeting capabilities that a network operator like you bring?
I think, if you can get to scale, whether it's an aggregation of markets through MSO agreements, right? So if you can get 15 of the top 20, let's say, then that really does allow you to have the intelligence and have the point of view that can be sort of extended to any smaller market, right? If you have the top 15, you can learn enough that you can go from there. So I think the programmers in particular would like to see that, because then they can customize local media, but they have the global picture for the whole country and potentially the world. As you get into more IP-based video, it's a lot easier to aggregate that data if it's in an IP form. Similar, obviously it's being done now on digital, but I definitely see opportunities for people to aggregate and then extrapolate out of that a national sample and national opportunities, conjoined with the local.
All right, and a softball to end. Are you excited or enervated by all the changes that are sort of going on with the advertising thing in particular?
Very excited. It's a huge opportunity. The rep business is wonderful and it provides a very consistent, revenue stream. But the opportunities that this affords us with, higher CPMs, more availability of inventory, and then better use of that inventory, so the customer gets a better, better media schedule, better pricing, and better results. It really feels like the next generation of ad sales on the local level, and as you said, potentially on the national level. So it's very exciting.